Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the Kentucky men's basketball team was looking to shock Florida and make it to the semifinals of the SEC tournament. Plus, the cost of the war in Iran is piling up, how much the U.S. has spent so far, and what comes next.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The Kentucky men's basketball team played its third game in as many days in Nashville this afternoon at the SEC tournament. WYMT's Mackenzie Freeman tells us how they did in our Big Blue coverage. Mackenzie.
Steve, for the third time this season, Kentucky would face Florida, but this time in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament. In the first quarter, the Gators start off hot. Xavier Lee gets the rock, and he'll take this one straight to the cup. Florida up 8-2 early. Later on, Alex Condon gets the rock in the corner. He'll just power his way inside before ultimately going with the hook shot. Gators go up 10, but here comes the Cats. Mo Diabate gets found in the corner, and you can give him all three of those. On the ensuing play, Otega Owe picks a Gators pocket, and he would put the exclamation point on that one with the two-handed flush, and it was Mo time in Nashville. The junior sinks another triple to make it a one-possession game, and BBN is loving it. Florida called a timeout right there. Jump to the second half, though. Lee takes this one coast to coast before finding Isaiah Brown for the reverse layup. Florida goes up 17. The Wildcats were able to cut their deficit down to 5 with just over a minute remaining thanks to a 3 by Denzel Aberdeen, but Florida would pull out the 71-63 win. It looks like the third time would not be the charm for the Wildcats, and now they await Selection Sunday for their NCAA tournament fate. I'll have more coming up in sports.
Hi, good afternoon. Now early evening on a Friday. Thanks for being with us. Chris Bailey back with you. Pinch hitting as we start out the weekend. Gorgeous view of Hazard. Lots of sunshine out there. We continue with the winds that are cranking through the early evening. Wind advisory is out 40 to 50 plus miles per hour already observed. Now we're going to focus on Sunday through early Tuesday. First alert weather day. We got the threat for severe thunderstorms Sunday night, and then snow by mid-morning on Monday as temperatures crash. Wind chills may be around 5 above as we go into Monday night and early Tuesday. Forecast, though, before that, we go into the day on Saturday with temperatures that are into the 60s. So again, that first alert weather day is out for that Sunday through Tuesday morning time period. First alert radar network, nothing going on across central and eastern Kentucky. Into the mountains of southeastern Kentucky, we've had more sun than our neighbors to the north. Coming up, we'll track the big change in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. One person is dead after a crash in Wolfe County. State police say they were called to the intersection of Kentucky 15 and Maddie Graham Road yesterday afternoon. Troopers say 58-year-old Candace Gabbard of Jackson crossed the center line before colliding with a vehicle driven by 86-year-old Courtney Berry. Berry died from injuries sustained in the crash. Troopers say Gabbard was flown to UK Hospital in critical condition. In Menifee County, deputies have identified human remains found during the course of several months as a missing man. The remains have been identified as James Jimmy Madison Smallwood of Frenchburg. Authorities say he was last seen in March of 2022. The coroner says Smallwood's remains were found in December 2024, as well as on 2 separate occasions in February 2025. A man is in jail on charges related to child sexual abuse material in Rowan County. State police arrested Bobby Joe McCabe on Tuesday. They say he was sharing images of child sexual exploitation online. After police launched an investigation, they ended up getting a search warrant for McCabe's home in Moorhead, where they took him into custody. He was charged with 2 counts of distribution of matter portraying a minor in a sexual performance under 12 years old and 5 counts of distribution of matter portraying a minor in a sexual performance over 12 years old. 6 crew members have died in a military airplane crash in Iraq. They were aboard a refueling plane. The military says no hostile or friendly fire was involved, but an Iranian group claimed responsibility, although it has not provided any evidence supporting the claim. A second plane was forced to make an emergency landing. No additional details about what happened are known. The names of the service members killed have not been released yet. The first estimates are in, and a week of war in Iran has cost the United States more than $11.3 billion. The Pentagon provided Congress with that estimate earlier this week. WYMT Washington correspondent Brendan Cullerton has more on funding efforts from Capitol Hill.
The cost of war is raising eyebrows on Capitol Hill, with no end to the conflict in sight. Republicans say they are putting their trust in the Trump administration to carry out its mission, but Democrats say if the president wants more money spent on Iran, they need more answers and a better plan. President Donald Trump is offering mixed messages on Iran, at times signaling the war is almost finished.
Over the past 11 days, our military has virtually destroyed Iran.
Other times, the president has hinted the war could last longer than a month or indefinitely. With mounting costs, Republicans in Congress say an $11.3 billion price tag so far is worth it.
With regard to the price tag, the price of freedom is a lot more than that. And the price of stability in the Middle East is a lot more than that. The burden of being the strongest nation in the world, it's cost a fair bit of money.
But Democrats are not sold the ends justify the means. They aren't only concerned about rapidly cutting into the Pentagon's nearly $900 billion budget. Lawmakers worry about domestic costs for U.S. citizens.
What can we do to help Americans deal with rising oil costs? The price of gas is going up 60 cents a gallon.
Democrats say if the war drags on, the White House will ask Congress for more money. And if they don't have better information on the goals and reasons for war, they might not hand that money over.
To continue an agenda which is about regime change means boots on the ground. So should we vote for money that is going to imperil men and women in uniform without any discussion or debate? In my view, no.
Republicans say so far the White House has not indicated they currently need more funding to continue missions. In Washington, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
We are learning more about an attack at a Michigan synagogue yesterday. Officials say Ayman Mohammed Ghazali was killed by security after ramming into Temple Israel in West Bloomfield Township near Detroit. Officials say Ghazali lost 4 family members in an Israeli airstrike near his native Lebanon just last week. According to the Department of Homeland Security, Ghazali came to the United States in 2011 on an immediate relative visa as the spouse of a U.S. citizen. We also have new details about the shooting at Old Dominion University. A person familiar with that case says Mohammed Baylor Jallo was granted an early release from federal prison after completing a drug treatment program. We've also learned the Department of Justice has charged the man accused of selling the gun to Jallo. Kenya Chapman was charged with making a false statement during a firearm purchase and engaging in the business of firearms dealing without a license. A federal judge has blocked subpoenas issued by the Justice Department in its investigation into Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. The case centers on Powell's testimony before Congress last year on a renovation project at the central bank's headquarters. Powell has claimed the investigation was a direct result of his refusal to lower interest rates, which President Trump had pressured him to do. In his ruling, the judge wrote a, quote, mountain of evidence suggested the subpoenas were served to pressure Powell to either lower interest rates or resign. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey has signed a more than $5 billion budget bill. It passed last week by the state legislature with some objections. With tomorrow being West Virginia's final day of the session, lawmakers could use that time to look back on some of the things the governor disagreed with in his line item vetoes. Some of the governor's priorities, he says, were secured in this budget, more than $275 million to fully fund the Hope Scholarship Program and millions to improve West Virginia's roads and infrastructure, as well as a 3% pay raise for state employees. We'll be right back with more Mountain News at 5:30.